In another life, she might have met Rayen at a bookstore, reached for the same novel, smiled, laughed, fallen, but in this life, she met him through a poem at 1:17 a.m. in a house that was too quiet for a woman supposedly loved. It had been 3 weeks since their first message, 3 weeks of late-night voice notes, inside jokes, half-written poems shared like secrets. "I think of you when I stir my tea," Rayen said once, "because you make the quiet sweeter." She didn't know how to respond to that, so she just sent a voice note of her stirring tea. He didn't reply with words, just a smiley face and a heart. They still hadn't met. No video calls, no real names, just the honesty that lives in spaces where no one expects to be seen. And in that there was freedom. Dev noticed the change, of course, not in dramatic ways, but in the subtle absences. Her laughter no longer reached him. Her phone buzzed more often. Her eyes stayed on something else when he talked about work. He loved her. Not the way movies do, with fireworks and loud kisses in the rain, but with stillness, with patience. He brought her fresh tulips every Monday, learned how she took her chai, memorized the way she liked her sari pleats to fall. But he could never quite reach her soul. It was like pressing his ear to a closed door, and hearing music meant for someone else. That night he watched her sleep, her hand resting on her phone, screen still lit, a name he didn't recognize glowing faintly at the top. Rayen writes. He didn't open it. He wasn't that kind of man. But he knew, and that knowing settled in his chest like dust. She didn't want to be cruel. She didn't want to hurt anyone. She just wanted to feel alive. And with Rayen she did. Not because he filled a void, but because he reminded her it existed. That night, their conversation began with a question. "What's the one thing you've never said out loud?" She paused, looked over at Dev, asleep beside her, then typed, "I think I was never meant to be a wife." There was a silence, a respectful pause. Then his reply, "Maybe you were meant to be more than that. Maybe you were meant to be a world someone explores, not a role someone assigns." Her heart did something strange then. Folded, unfolded, ached. She replied, "You say things like you've known me in other lives." Rayen's message came moments later. "Maybe I did." The next night they read poetry to each other. Not their own this time. Neruda, Tagore, Rumi. His voice, young and unpolished, carried emotion like a boy who hadn't yet learned to hide softness. Her voice, older, quieter, carried grief like silk folded in drawers. And somehow they met in the middle. Rayen, voice message, "You ever feel like you've been waiting for someone to find you your whole life, but you didn't know where to wait?" Anya, soft voice, "Yes, all the time." Dev bought her favourite cake the next evening, vanilla almond, with rose petals. He set the table, lit a candle, played her favourite old playlist. She smiled when she saw it, kissed his cheek, said thank you. But her eyes were somewhere else. She ate 2 bites. Then her phone buzzed, and Dev, he just sat there, watching the woman he loved drift further away, one silence at a time. Later that night she sent Rayen something she hadn't written, but had only dreamed. "If I met you before all of this, before the vows, the house, the expectations, would you have loved me still?" He responded, Rayen, text. "I think I would have loved you even if we met in another century, in another skin, in another language. Some souls just find each other." He responded, Rayen, text. "I think I would have loved you even if we met in another century, in another skin, in another language. Some souls just find each other." She stared at that message until the screen dimmed. In that moment, she wasn't a wife, wasn't a woman trapped in a beautiful cage. She was just a woman, being seen, being wanted, not for what she did, but for what she was. Love is not always loud. Sometimes it arrives as a whisper in the dark, as a stranger's voice that feels like home, as poetry you weren't brave enough to write, until someone else made you believe it was yours to tell. But love is also complicated, because someone always gets hurt. Like, subscribe and turn on notification for more ink and intimacy stories.